the impression and model scan protocol as well. And the next one we have, lastly, is called the Ray Scan Studio, which is similar to the Ray Scan S. It's a 20 by 20 scan, but this one also has a facial camera, which you're able to scan a patient's face in 3D format. And using those data, you're able to superimpose the CT scan, the intraoral scan, and then the facial scan, merge that all together and to create like a full digital patient. You can see in the picture here, you can see how we have the impression scan, the X-ray scan, the facial scan. We kind of merge it into one.
So I'm sorry to interrupt, but the future of dentistry, you know, if you think about it, with this technology, you're able to fabricate a digital denture, and you can actually correct the cant. You know how when you get a denture back from the lab, your cant's off, whatever, like your vertical's off. Like this, you can see everything because you can see the face, you can see the vital structure, you can see the structures that are there. And so it gives you a lot more information just on the screen, basically. So it's not, they're working on it, they're still, evolving, they're still changing, but that's the road that it's heading towards. And so it's not just like, from a lab work standpoint, this is valuable information that we can have, basically, so.
Yeah, definitely. So these are all the products that we have for CT that we have in the company. And then I'm gonna move over there and I'm gonna kind of show you on actually how our unit works and what kind of protocol we have here.
I'm gonna follow you since I have the mic, I guess. And since it's already hooked up, I don't want to disconnect.
Yeah, no worries. Okay. You're more than welcome to come and see it for yourself. Yeah, I don't bite. Okay. So this is the Ray Scan Studio, the top of the line model that we have that I mentioned lastly. So you can actually control the unit using a touchscreen as well as a remote control. So I'm not sure if you guys knew, but we used to be a subsidiary of Samsung. So we kind of based the technology off of Samsung technology. So we created like a remote feature to kind of control everything. So this actually comes in handy because for those with tight spaces, you're not able to access the touchscreen. You can actually freely come over to the other side, control everything with the remote control. So that's pretty handy. And the unit emits 4 different colors. See, right now we have a blue color, meaning it's just on a standby mode. And we have a green color, meaning it's ready to expose. Yellow meaning it's exposing. And red means there's some kind of emergency stop has been activated. So if I press, there's a red button here.
Yeah, emergency stop. Yeah.
So if there's some kind of hazard coming along the way during the scan, you can actually press this and it emits like a scary red light. And then I can actually release this and it turns back to blue. Yeah, so that's that. And then I'm going to show you on the software side here. So this is our software. It's called SmartDent. So all our software comes in one package with the unit. So everything's included. This is called a SmartDent. This is where you'll be able to create patients, view images, get to the acquisition page, everything here. This is like a one-stop portal for everything. So I actually created a patient here already, so I'm going to show you how our protocol looks like. So if I click on the camera icon, and I'll just focus on CT side today. So although it's a CT, you can do everything like the panel and everything, but today I'll be primarily focusing on.
Is this Eugene?
Yeah, this is. So I created Eugene's patient here. So I'll show you. So we have multiple protocols here. I'll briefly go over what these protocols will be here. So as soon as I clicked on the acquire button, it's going to automatically position itself to a patient positioning mode. So once it stops moving, you'll see that please wait message will be gone. Yeah. And so here we have all the patient information. So, and what's really cool about our software is, based on the age of the patient, it automatically adjusts the radiation level.
Exposure,
yeah. Yeah, exposure level. So this, you do not have to even touch it. So based on the age, it will automatically adjust on itself. And here we have the protocol name. Here we have a temperature meter. So let's say you take like 30, 40 CT scans in the span of like 30 minutes. It's a lot, but eventually the unit will overheat, and this will kind of give you a warning and it will kind of let you not take any scans for like 5 minutes to cool down, so that you can prolong your health of the your X-ray unit. Yeah, so we have multiple protocols here. We have like a regular jaw scan, which is the 10 by 10 full jaw scan. You can still capture the third molar. And here, it tells you all the information here. We have the jaw, the field of view, the size of the scan, and the exposure level, the power level. And here we have a fast scan mode. So for those who, like the elderlies, or for those who cannot stand still, if there's movement, there's always going to be distortion in the image. So we created this mode so that they don't have to stand long, and you'll still get the image that you're able to diagnose with. And we have a larger field of view scan, which is 16 by 10. It kind of captures all the way to the airway. So even for those who are bigger, then a lot of
sleep apnea, for appliances and stuff like that.
And here we have the full facial scan, which is a 20 by 20 full skull head. And there's 3 different modes for the 20 by 20 scan. Here we have a regular X-ray, and here is called the scalp scan. So this one has a camera for the facial scan. So you can it will actually take a picture of the front of the patient's face with the X-ray. So it will save that as a one merged data. And then here we have a regular smile scan, meaning this will be the 3D facial scan, primarily used for smile designs and such. And here we have the endoscan. So this one consists of higher resolution. So when you're doing endo cases, you do need higher resolution to see the canals and such more clearly, including fractures. So here you can actually choose the specific area where you want to radiate. Like for example, I want the right premolar with the maxilla or what's called mandible side. But I'm not actually sure if I'm going to capture the exact area, right? So if I actually click on this little icon here, the rotator will move to to the desired area, and then it's going to emit the blue light that I was talking about earlier. So it's going to emit a blue light, and so actually, you can stand in there. So you can kind of see, if you come closely here, you can
see where it's pointing, the blue light, where it's pointing to, yeah.
So you can kind of see where I'm actually aiming. And then, using the information, let's say I don't like that field of view, I want to move it somewhere else. I can actually use using these arrows, I can control the size of the scan. So you can see how it's moving. You look on this side?
Yeah, so the blue light is getting wider or
so I can actually
taller or wider, yeah.
Adjust it. Yeah.
If you ever ran into a calcified canal, even on a premolar, like number 4 or 5, and you can't find the lingual canal sometimes, after you made the access, sometimes there's times where I take a Cbct scan of it to orient myself to where, because sometimes you're struggling in there. It takes you like 30 minutes in there because you can't find the canal, and then you take a CBCT, and you can find it because you can orient where you're off, like just if you're too buccal, too lingual, or whatever, or too mesial, and you can redirect to find the canal basically. So it's a huge benefit having it. Technology is improving, so our dentistry needs to improve to match the technology basically, and this is one of the ways that we can utilize the technology to help us.
Okay, and I'm gonna go back to my previous page. Okay, so that's how we would take the endoscan. We also have Tmj Scan, where we can primarily focus on the TMJ area to see the location of the condyles. And here we have a sinus scan. We'll focus. So all the positioning is the same. The rotator will do the rest to choose where you want to scan. And lastly, we have the airway scan for sleep apnea, sleep studies, etc. So when we actually acquire a scan, I'm going to go and cancel this. So when we acquire a scan, it's going to save it into our software, and you'll see an image here. And we also provide you the 3D viewing software for you to see the image and do your planning. So we provide you a software called On Demand 3D. This is the top of the line CT viewing software. So here we have, let me actually show you.
One thing that I noticed with the RayScan software versus some of the other ones, right? If you look at this model, you don't see any scatter. Like like what I said, I have different offices. I have more than one office, and I have different brands. I recently got a RayScan Cbct machine as well too, but I have a Plan Mecca as well too. But the Plan Mecca, I mean, this image is good on the Plan Mecca, but this image, there's a lot of scatter. If the patient has PFMs, whatever, implants, like, cause I do a lot of implants, so there's a lot of implants, and then so you see a lot of scatter. There's like a lot of distortion scatter. So it's hard to see this, right? But when you look at their software, it's crisp. There's implants here, but it's crisp. It's just clean. It's super clean. And so this is one of the noticing factors that I noticed right away with the RayScan software, basically. So.
Yeah, so I mean, glad you mentioned that. So basically all our CT scans are applied with a metal artifact reduction filter, meaning there will be some kind of distortion, but we reduced it so that it's very minimal. So you're still able to diagnose all the teeth around the implants area or metal affected area. For those who are familiar with how to view a CT, we come up with the 3 different modes, where the coronal view, the axial view, and the sagittal view, meaning you can look from the back to the front,
the side,
bottom to top. So you can actually, and I can actually freely adjust,
And it's fast. There's no like delays either. It just moves along with you wherever you want to. So
yeah, so you can actually align it, and you can actually see how you want to see it. So if you move one box, other boxes will also apply, so that you're seeing the right location in multiple on view. From here you can actually do your measurements. Plan your implants. Let me show you here. So the software will also initialize the arch, and it can automatically draw the arch to kind of see in a panoramic view format and a cross-sectional view here. So let's say if you're planning an implant, doing the measurements, and our implant libraries are all here. Our libraries get updated pretty often. But let's say there's an implant library that you don't see, then you can always contact us and we can add in the library for you as well. And then what's really also cool about this software is we also have a way to also measure airways for sleep studies. So I can actually trace the airway, and then it's gonna kind of give you a volumetric measure on how tight or how wide the airway is. So it kind of gives you even a color coding format, like red means it's pretty narrow there, and there. This is Eugene Scan.
Yeah.
But, sorry, I don't want to put you on the spot. But, sorry, this is how you're able to measure your airway. And also for those who are endodontists, we can actually. We created a tool where you could see the canals in like a endoscopic format. And let me show you what I mean. Like, let's see. Maybe if I want to go over, like, let's say, sorry. So I'm gonna zoom in a little so you guys can see the canal better. So I can actually zoom in. So obviously you want to do this in after taking the endoscan, but since we have the full skull scan, we'll use this. So when you actually zoom in, you see the canals here, right? So I can actually trace the canal. Let me see. I can actually trace it. And if I double click. So I just trace the canal, and I can actually change this into like an endoscopic format here. Let me see.
I think you just have a little section because it's on Airway, right? So.
Yeah. Can actually reset it. Sorry. Yeah, it works a lot better when you're doing the endoscan. Zoom in a little more. So you really want to be accurate when doing these. Go too deep. So, okay. This is a little small, but you can actually, this is actually inside a canal. And you can kind of go through, but I haven't traced it much. But you can actually, if you do an endoscan, you can actually go through the canal and see how wide or how narrow even the canal is. Hopefully this will help you when doing, your root canals and yeah. Such. So yeah, that's just the basic gist of this software. But you can do a lot more like surgical guide planning. And using this machine, since it's a 20 by 20, you could even do a thing called a 3D cephalometric tracing for those who are orthodontists.
So what he means is you can take a CT and you don't have to take a lateral ceph. Like you don't have to have a separate lateral ceph. You can extrapolate from the CT a lateral ceph from the CT. So.
Yeah. So with the unit, everything will be prepared for you after the installation. We can train for you. So we'll go in full details, when that happens.
Brian's going to introduce a little bit more about the RayScan software. He's going to talk about facial recognition, facial scanning, right? Or actually model scanning. This is kind of cool because when I first got this, so you guys, I don't know if you guys know about intraoral scanners and stuff like that. Everybody knows, I guess a lot of people are doing digital dentistry these days, and so you got intraoral scanners. But RayScan has a feature where you can actually take an impression if you don't have an intraoral scanner, and you can put this on the Cbct machine itself, and the machine will scan this impression. You can have an STL file out of it. So if you guys are doing surgical guides, where you guys want, and the way how surgical guides work is it marries the scan, like the model of your, like the lower jaw, or whatever. If you're taking number 18, whatever it is, it marries this to this DICOM file, which is the Cbct scan file. So it marries the STL file, and the DICOM file becomes 2 in 1, and then that's how they create the surgical guide. But this has this feature where you can take an impression, and if you take a previous impression like this and have the scanners, the Cbct scan the previous impression, then you can get a very accurate data where you don't have these problems, basically. Because I talked to the class earlier about garbage in equals garbage out. And so if you guys don't give the lab a crisp, clean data where you got a good impression of this and you have a good CBCT data, then your guides will fit very nicely as well too. But if you guys are trying to do this intraoral scan in the mouth where you guys are doing a bad scan of the mouth, and then you give the lab the data to fabricate your surgical guides, you're going to have problems where the surgical guide might not fit right, or it might be off, basically. So this helps to eliminate a lot of those kind of problems. So he's going to go over this in more detail here just a bit.
Yeah, so basically, not only you can actually take scans of patients using the RayScan, you can also scan models and impressions. We created this protocol so that there are still a lot of people who does not own their own intraoral scanner. And they're still, used to the conventional impression method. So we create a method. So we have this little protocol here, platform here.
And if you guys have ever scanned the full arch in the mouth, it's technique sensitive, number one, and there's a bit of a learning curve, number two. The software, even though it's intuitive, if you rely on the software, that's where you get to have problems of distortion, relying on the software, basically. So this kind of eliminates some of those factors because we are so used to this as far as taking impressions goes that this is second nature to us, where you know what a good impression looks like. But sometimes us dentists, because technology is new and we still don't know a lot of stuff, you don't know what a good intraoral scan looks like sometimes. And so you send the data to the lab for a surgical guide and you come back and you're like, this stupid lab made my surgical guide wrong. It's not the lab. It's you guys. Whoever made the surgical guide or whoever did the intraoral scan was probably off. That's where it was off.
Yes. So so therefore, so we were able to kind of raise even a higher quality because impression data is really important for labs to receive. So we captured that. So you would actually you can actually instead of the trimmers, you can actually hook this up and scan the impression itself. Like remove everything, just hook this one only, and then it'll do its own scan, like how you would scan a patient, and then it would actually save into our software here. And it will automatically convert from a DICOM to STL format automatically.
So intraoral scans are STL files, we call it, okay? And then the CBCT scans are DICOM files, DICOM files. And so the way how it works is it takes the two files and it stitches them together. Like the Trio software that they use to make your surgical guides and stuff like that is what they use. These files are what you need to export out to give to the lab for them to fabricate your cases. If you guys send your implant cases like a digital scan using a scan body, it's usually an STL file that you're sending them to the lab. So.
Right. So yeah, so I've already scanned this impression myself, and then if I actually open the scan, you'll have a STL format of this impression. Now, you can actually, send this impression as a whole, but we could even go further by making this into a digital model. So as soon as this loads up,
So instead of, for some of you guys, if you guys are thinking about investing in an intraoral scanner, I mean, of course there's limits of what this can do versus what an intraoral scanner can do, but this can actually take over some of the intraoral scanning problems that you have with just one CBCT machine. So that's something that you guys can take into considerations.
Yeah, so this is actually the impression that we just scanned here. If I just want the area, if I just brush off the area that I like for example, I'm just highlighting on the area of the desired position that I like.
So this is all from the CBCT machine. This is the scan of this model here from the CBCT machine. And that's how it looks like on the software, basically. So this is what you can extrapolate out of the software, basically. Mm-hmm. And it's actually taking a physical CBCT of this impression. It's not taking a actual, like a picture. It's actually taking a CBCT of it, like a three-dimensional, like your mouth, like or jaw. It's taking a CBCT of the model, and this is extrapolating out. Just like we can see the jaw, like the bone and all that stuff in the CBCT, this is exactly what this is doing.
Right. So as soon as I highlighted the area, this can actually convert this into a 3D digital model. So you guys are more used to like pouring the stone to have a physical model. Now you keep a digital file of it, and you will be able to send this file over to the lab, and they can work using these files to do their.
So it's like your intraoral scan. If once you scan it, this is what it looks like, and in the software as well too, basically. So it's the same thing. So.
And then, and not only you can create your own STL, you can also import your like a STL that you got from somewhere else, like from a different lab or from a different office. So I actually have a STL file that I received here. So after so if I actually drag the STL file over to this viewer, here now you have an STL file over this abutment, and if I just keep transferring over, so there's multiple STL files that were already merged together, like stitched together to make the whole case. And if I actually, it's not a finalized product, but it basically, once it's finalized, you'll receive a file back from maybe the lab, or you'll receive a printed version of that, and then you can actually physically see how this can do, and then if you have your own printer, you can print out your own model as well. And yeah. So once it's finalized, you'll get something like this.
So like if you guys are ordering a customized abutment or whatever, or a crown from the lab, they're taking the STL file basically. That's what they're doing, and they're all the stuff, like a lot of the stuff these days. A lot of the stuff these days that we get back from the lab is usually, a lot of them is done model-less, basically. They're done without a model. It's all done on a computer screen. So a lot of the lab tech guys are not really doing like stone, yes, they are doing some die stone work and stuff like that, but it's not really on stone anymore. It's all just click, click, click on a mouse on a computer. So I mean, a lot of the guys are more tech-savvy guys that are just in there designing your computer, like the crown, the abutment, everything. Just depending upon the gum level and all that stuff. That's how they're doing it on a screen. So this is the way, like the new wave of dentistry. Basically, it's just going towards digital, and unfortunately, it started already, and it's just kind of getting better and better, and people are constantly striving to get better with it, and it's changing. This is one of the things that's changing, and this is how they're utilizing their technology to help all of us, basically. So.
Okay. And then, so that's how we would, that's how you would be able to utilize the ray scan, so you can get digital models and to be able to send it over to the lab, all the necessary information. And the next thing I'm going to actually explain to you about is one of our other products called the Ray Face, which is a 3D facial scanner by itself. So this is the model that I'm going to be talking about. It's a desktop basically scanner where you just sit, the patient sits in front of the desk, in front of the scanner, and you'll be able to actually capture. It will be a stationary scan, and it captures multiple images and make that into a 3D model. So I'm going to actually show you here. Doctor, you can be the volunteer. Let me see. So.
Male. Just select male.
Okay. So I'm connecting the software now with this product, and then I'm just gonna get it ready. So it actually flashed up here. I wish the screen was next to each other, but you'll see if you take a look here.
You can see the picture.
You can see the live feed of the camera. It gives us a guideline on how you want to position. So we're gonna. Okay, you want to try taking a scan? Yeah. Okay. So here we have a little red dot here, right? You can just be looking at that. And then we're going to use that screen to kind of adjust it right here. So now can you step a little more forward? Okay. Yeah.
You can go down a little bit more.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit more down, yeah. Down further.
Oh, down one?
Yeah, down. Down more, yeah. Okay.
And then
Maybe just a little bit up, just a little tiny bit up. Okay, that's good.
if you scooch it more forward, sorry. Yeah, a little more. Yeah.
Maybe just a little bit. Which way? Left?
Oh, a little bit to the left. Yeah. Okay. So
Maybe up just a hair, or I mean, there you go. It's a little bit off in the.
a little more forward. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Okay, I think that's close enough. So you just look straight into the red dot, and I'm just going to capture from the computer. So, give me a big smile. So this is called a smile scan. Okay, that's it. And then we just took, yeah, that's it. Yeah, all good. Yeah. So if you take a look here now, we just took a smile scan here. It's primarily mainly used for patient consultation or to design a smile. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the image here. It's a little off, but ooh. So I'm converting now. Now this file format is called the OBJ file. It's similar to the STL, but it's a 3D facial object file that you can use to stitch your CT DICOM data and your intraoral scan STL data as well. So here now we have the 3D model here of the patient.
Cool.
You can actually rotate it and start doing the smile design here. And yeah, so this is one of the other products that we have, and yeah, and then we're trying to utilize like an all-in-one package so you can have a full function, fully digitally customized office, So yeah.
Yeah, because it's kind of very valuable because you're not looking at like a separate picture and like a like a picture photo, right? And then the Cbct or whatever, and whatever, the STL file. So you can marriage everything together kind of, and you can actually work with everything, like the full facial, whatever structures and everything. So it's kind of cool as far as not from a cool factor, but like everything, when you design anything from the tooth to a crown or whatever it is, you can do lots of different things, like whatever appliance that we're trying to design. So. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.